Growatt sent me their portable power station 15100 for review. Let's take a look at its spec and take it outside for a test. Input at 1508 watts. I will walk you through the app, do some loading tests, and push it to the limit. It has 1.5 kilowatt hour storage and 2000 watts continuous power output. Here's a quick overview for its runtime duration, powering outdoor activities or some home appliances. For example, the fridge may run 9 hours on one charge. The user manual looks like it has wireless charging on top. MC4 to XT60 charging cord and 12 volts to XT60. So with this cord, it will be compatible with a lot of solar panel choices because MC4 is the industrial standard. 2 fans here for ventilation, USB ports, DC on-off AC control, and Wi-Fi reset button on the left. We got the solar and vehicle charging input, the AC charging input, and the reset button. Overload protection. There's nothing in the back. 2 fans. On the right side, 4 AC outputs and a 12 volts, 10 amps, 120 watts DC output. At the bottom, rubber feet and the specifications. Power on the DC. The green LED is on. It's charging. The output shows 12 watts, 50.4 hours left at 40%. Solar charging is pretty easy. Just make the connection to the panel and this end goes in here. This port is rated at 800 watts. XT60. MC4. So you can find a lot of these panels on the market with MC4 connection, which is also weatherproof. The cord is pretty long, so usually I would keep it in the shade. I'm getting 177 watts of input, and the remaining charging time is 4.8 hours. It supports solar pass-through charging, which means I can use it and getting recharged at the same time. Doesn't matter if it's solar input or AC input. In this case, the solar panel is going to greatly offset the power consumption of the laptop, which is a 16-inch MacBook Pro. When it's charging, it will take 60 watts max from the USB-C port. It can also access the AC power output and DC outputs as well. The USB ports are great for charging small electronics such as iPhones, iPads, or even a MacBook Pro via power delivery port using its USB-C connection. There are 2 USB-C PD ports rated at 60 watts. And these 2 USB type A here are fast charging type. These are QC3 compatible, can provide 9 volts, 18 watts. These 2 are slower at 12 watts. You will get much better efficiency without having to turn on the AC inverter. If you need even more USB devices, I would recommend plugging in a car charger to increase the number of power delivery USB-C ports or USB Type-A QC3 ports. It's rated at 2000 watts, so it should not have any problem powering this hair dryer from Dyson. I set it at maximum heat setting and maximum speed setting. The power output, 1550 watts, no problem. Okay, that's fine. Okay, it handled that beautifully. Then how about a heater? I would like to trigger an overload event so we can see if it will cause any damage to the unit. We'll see what happens. The heat setting 1 is the lowest one. I'm going to increase the power consumption to 800, over 800 watts now. And at this point, this hair dryer is not enabled. There's a heat setting 3, which will give us the maximum power draw. 2,500 watts for a second, then it powered off. It says overload. That's a red warning sign, and it came back by itself. The heat 3 setting is the maximum power draw. Let's see. It's 1,888 watts. Still going. Remaining half an hour, 53%. Now the heater is running. If I turn on the hair dryer again, overload protection, F03 arrow sign, arrow code. So yes, it will be able to handle this kind of power output just fine, and it does automatic reset by itself. How about the surge power output from my DeWatt miters off? Nope, the power cuts off. The fan is running, and I'm getting F03 error code. The DeWatt miter saw is rated at 1,800 watts, but the startup power is way more than that. I do not have a measurement. Yeah, I can just simply press the AC power button again to restart it. Let's try it again. Nope, it cannot do that. Massive surge power draw from the battery bank that will cause a overload protection. You can totally restart it, but that's not the best use case for this battery bank. The smartphone app is supported, so we can control it remotely. Let me add the device, pick the model number, Infinity 1500, power it on, 3 seconds. Hold the Wi-Fi reset button for 1 second. The Bluetooth icon is on. Next step, enter the username and password of the Wi-Fi connection. It is connected to the battery bank wirelessly via Bluetooth first, then I provide the Wi-Fi and username and password to this power station. After it's connected to the phone app, the charging and discharging speed is displayed on the screen. Right here, the input is 600 watts. Let's walk through the app. It's very interesting to look at. We can also see the real-time remaining. Now I'm getting 770 watts, 860 watts, yes. This number is actually higher than what I tested before because I changed the setting under the settings menu where we can see the charging power. There's no limit. It was limited at 1,000 watts. Okay, coming back here. So in the input, we are seeing 1,131 watts. We can also see the charging temperature coming over here to the output side. The DC and AC outlets can be remotely controlled like this. This is really cool. And I can see the power output per USB-C or USB-A ports. Now the DC is off. Let me enable the DC output. Okay, and we can see the USB-C, which is connected to the MacBook Pro, outputting 40 watts right now because my MacBook Pro is almost fully charged. Then the iPhone 14 I'm holding here is connected to the other USB-C, which is outputting 0 watts, which is incorrect. Okay, let me unplug and check again. Okay, moving on, we will also see the charging output. The charging input and output are both displayed here. It looks like the input is reduced a little bit. Going back to the settings menu, the battery protection was set at 10%. This is to avoid deep discharge, which is bad for the battery, so usually I would recommend doing 20%. Okay, save it. Temperature unit, Celsius or Fahrenheit. The charging power, which we have seen before, then it will, of course, increase the internal temperature of the device when the charging power is increased to 2000 watts. The beeping sound can be turned on or off. I'll just leave it on as I need the type of feedback. Then the screen off time looks like after 5 minutes later, this screen will be turned off automatically to conserve even more power. The device battery life, I'm not sure what this means. It looks like there is a timeout set to 2 hours. After it's not in use, maybe it will power off. It is really unclear for this translation. Under here, we got the device name, rename, shared device. So a secondary account can access this battery wirelessly because it is connected to my wireless router, so I can control this device no matter where I am in the world as long as I have internet connection. The firmware update is supported, which is a really good thing because if it has bugs, the manufacturer can release a new firmware update to fix it or even introduce even more features. And I have my firmware version and device serial number. Here I got the USB-C output at 10 watts, which is more likely, right? Instead of 0 watts after the reconnection. USB-C is now at 33 watts. And it also shows the 12 volts, 10 amps, that car socket output. Battery sitting at 56%, input at 1,508 watts. 30 minutes remaining. The temperature is sitting at 82.4 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's change that temperature category to Celsius for those of you living outside of US, which is 28 degrees Celsius. I'm going to power off the AC. And keep in mind, if you can use the DC power, try to use the DC as much as possible because AC inverter may consume extra battery and it is less efficient considering we're doing the DC lithium-ion battery conversion to the AC power.